The unfair advantage.
Okay, Kelvin, we are back. Episode 6 for The Unfair Advantage. So exciting because we have another amazing guest, Kate Syuma. Thank you so much for joining us. Welcome to The Unfair Advantage.
Thank you for having me today. It's been a while since I've been on the other side of the podcast, so it's always a happy moment for me to join. Yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So just to give people a bit of a sense of who Kate is before we delve in and start interrogating Kate's life. Kate, you started your career in digital design, in the early branding, visual IDs, etc. Like a design framework, then going into UI because, moving into more of a web side of things, UX, then product designer at Miro, which we're going to delve in a little deeper as well. I'm very excited about that. And now growth advisor for your very own firm called Growthmates, which, I'm very excited to hear about. So again, welcome to The Unfair Advantage.
Thank you so much for having me.
Awesome. Yeah, Kate, sorry, I'm jumping in here because we haven't officially met yet, and I feel like it's almost an episode of Smartless, one of those podcasts. I'll be the Jason Bateman, Don. So I always clueless. So we haven't met, but I obviously stalked you online when Don raised some of the cool stuff that you were posting about. Can you maybe give us a high level view of what Growthmates is and why you are so amazing at what you do?
Thank you so much. Growthmates is currently it's so many things in one, to be honest. So one of the things you've already mentioned, it's my advisory practice where I help companies build meaningful products that delight users. I think this is my personal mission that I just confirmed for myself that this is what I'd love to do. But apart from that, I create a bunch of content that can help others, just get some inspiration, apply it immediately on their work, some UX principles, some POG practices. And I do that in the form of newsletter. I do that on LinkedIn, as you have seen. I do this in a podcast. But recently, I also combined all this enormous amount of information that I have in the form of a course that I also make a little bit more available for anyone in the team who needs my help, not necessarily working with me as advisor, but more like as a guider, to improve the product flows. So this is what is Growthmates at the moment, but who knows, maybe in 6 months it can be something else because it's always evolving. It's my playground these days and I love experimenting with it. Yeah.
I love that. So growth is, as you said, it's liquid, right? It's sometimes we need growth in this area, growth in that area. And I think that's beautiful. Creating something that people can use, understand how you think, and then just follow that tactically to be able to make some really cool decisions. So that's awesome. In my intro, I shared that you were a product designer at Miro. Right now, I think everybody has at some point in their lives worked with Miro in some way, shape, or form. It is a household and business wide name from an app perspective. So we've all, it's amazing. How do you tell us a little bit about working at Miro and the experience in building a product that is everyone loves to use and you have to keep on making it better and better?
Yeah, I'm sitting here today in Amsterdam and I'm feeling like everybody knows Miro, right? So it's unbelievable. And I'm getting back in my mind to 2017 when I started at Miro. It was a small town in Russia. It was a seed round company. Nobody knew about that globally. And I've been there as one of the first product designers. And I couldn't believe that this thing can happen that we have today with you, right? And that was the most magical time, I think, when you have a small team, you're working on almost everything, every part of the product. So my first task, to be honest, was to redesign the whole checkout experience and make it possible in product, like a self-serve checkout. And I was terrified, whoa, it's such a huge level of responsibility. I was still in my finishing year at university and I felt oh my God, such a imposter syndrome, right? And over time, I think as you are growing, evolving, you see how company is growing. So when I remember the moment when we raised like Series B, it was such a huge celebration. And that was, I felt like, whoa, it can be even better than that. So but then I moved to Amsterdam. My role transformed dramatically. So from product designer, doing a lot of things hands-on, I became a head of growth product design. So I built a team of over 10 people. And imagining that when I joined the company was 50 people. So my team that time was 10 and the growth organization was 200 and the whole company was 2,000 people. And I think that
amazing.
these 6 years that I've been there were probably the best years, because it's like it's capturing that moment of hypergrowth from a very small, nobody knows about this, till the moment when after COVID times, like, whoa, Miro is #1 tool for collaboration. And my role as well, like, transformed from individual contributor to head of in growth for design. That was unbelievable even for me to have that career progression in 6 years in one company. And I think it's once in a lifetime type of experience. So I really, I miss that partially, but also enjoying what I'm doing today, unpacking something new for myself. And I think Miro prepared me absolutely, like 100% prepared me for what I'm doing today. Yeah.
Love that. Love it. I've got a quick
That's
follow-on question before I know Kelvin wants to delve into other things, but it's a double question. Do you still use Miro, and do you judge the product designers now when something changes?
Of course, I use Miro. I have a lifetime license to keep using it.
Amazing.
And I use it for sure. If you have seen my tear down boards where I collect like bunch of examples of other products, onboarding flows, for example, I collect everything on Miro right now. It's my go-to tool for workshops with clients, for onboarding tear downs and audits. I use it every single day, to be frank. And when I see new product updates, of course, sometimes I feel like, why they have moved this button to somewhere else? It's not discoverable. But to be honest, like in the last year, the product really improved. Like the core team, I think, worked very well on improving design system. So it now looks like, not glitchy, not like startup type of product. It works very like well, and it looks very solid, like an enterprise level product with a good quality bar, because sometimes enterprise level products are not maintaining the quality bar very well. But Miro, I think, is an exception here. Yeah.
Well, they start on a good foundation, so well done.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for that. It's actually a really interesting story. I didn't know that's how Miro had started and where it started as well. It's nice to know that it's got those origin stories. What an exciting time it sounds like. But you the link, the post that Don shared with me that you shared on LinkedIn recently is, I think, the thing that got us talking a little bit more. You were talking about AI as being seen as a partner, and I think, Don, we can maybe share this link in the description afterwards, right?
Yeah.
So you were mentioning how AI needs to be a partner, and I think you spoke about Riverside, who we're recording this on, and Claude and Amplitude and a couple of those other companies, and how they potentially use some of that principles. What do you mean when you say it should be seen as a partner to an organization? Can you maybe elaborate on that a little bit?
Absolutely. I think right now we are at the moment of a huge behavioral change. And what I mean by that, like the previous time when something like that was introduced was probably like 50 years ago, when personal computers were introduced as a concept. And right now, AI is another, pivotal innovation. And every time when something like that is happening, we have some sort of behavioral change, how we interact with that new thing, right? And as humans, we need to adapt to that. And looking back into 50 years ago, when personal computers were introduced, the user experience was introduced like a decade after that, because we realized that as humans, when we interact with the machine for 8 hours a day at least, we need to design that experience that feels kind of human, that feels natural, that feels smooth, that feels like kind of user-friendly, right? So all these words, all these UX heuristics appeared from that. But AI at the moment is something new, right? And I started noticing even myself when I interact with AI, like if I create something, if I delegate too much to AI, I feel I'm not an owner of that outcome anymore. This is one issue. The other issue is the speed of creation. So whenever AI can generate something or create something, I feel myself like as a human not capable anymore. I feel like I'm not good enough. I cannot create good stuff anymore. I think engineers might feel that, designers might feel that, writers, copywriters might feel that. So whenever we interact with AI, we need to think about how to make that interaction like human plus AI, like as a partnership, right? Not like somebody stealing someone's job, or, if AI is so fast, how I can be faster, how I can think faster. So all of these things started raising in my head, and I started looking like what other companies are doing here, like especially companies that are introducing AI right now. And this is a collection of some principles I've seen across the board. So first one was by Riverside, and they created this interesting co-creator mode. By the way, they released that today or yesterday, I think. It's now available for everyone. You can try it out after recording this podcast.
Amazing.
So it's like how to treat that podcast creation as a co-creation, right? And even thinking about that, not like AI will do everything for you, but let's co-create, give me a prompt, give me some guidance. And a bunch of other principles, right? So you can check that on my LinkedIn post. I think Claude, for example, I'm not using it actively. I'm more into ChatGPT, but Claude is involving a lot of humanity into their language. They welcome you like, hello, I'm Claude, I'm doing this. What's your name? How to treat you? Like, what should I know about you? So this type of small details, but they make a big difference longer term if we keep using that product every day. But I think there is no still ideal solution. I'm just raising a point that any company that is now thinking about integrating AI, don't think of that as like simple exercise. It's pretty complex user experience exercise. So we need to think about how to make it beyond just fine, right? And there is no clear answer to that yet. So I hope together with the community, we will uncover that sooner or later.
Yeah, we're all still learning, right? I love that ownership that you talk about. We still have to feel like we're part of this, not just giving it away. Kate, we did say to you when we asked you to join, and thank you again for saying yes. We do quick 15-minute sessions. So my last quick question is: can you share maybe one cool story that, if you're allowed, that you have had with your customers at Growthmates driving this business?
Absolutely. Apart from customer stories, I thought of other cool things that happened while I was doing Growthmates. So one quick one, and this is probably to encourage you to keep doing what you are doing here with this podcast. I was doing Growthmates podcast. It was the first version of Growthmates. And one of my guests was Verna. At that time, she was at Adobe. And after a couple of years, I realized she moved to another company, Grammarly. And then I uncovered that the hiring manager or the recruiter found her from my podcast. And that was like, wow, it's like such a big impact for somebody's career and the industry even that happened just through creating the podcast. So this is one cool story. And another one, maybe less cool, like still cool, but maybe less fun, is from my client work. So, a lot of things that I'm doing today is connected to onboarding and activation. So this is the moment of the POG funnel where I'm more focused in. And sometimes companies come to me and they think like, yeah, we can fix like profiling information and we can fix our guidance inside the product and we are done here. And let's expect some amazing lift in our activation metric. And once I've done it as an experiment, I told one of my clients I actually uncovered a bigger opportunity of fixing their core product experience slightly, but introducing that change into the first experience and see if this will impact your activation metric better than any quick wins. And they have done that. They reported me like several months after that. And they had first reported like 15% increase in activation, but then after that, they reported 50% increase in activation after they
Wow,
introduced the
done.
bigger change on core product. And after that, this is what I'm communicated to everyone. Like whenever you are thinking like a small fix, a quick win can fix your onboarding issue, this is not going to happen. So we really need to think of your core experience. And when growth teams sometimes don't have ownership of any change on the core product experience, I feel very sad, because I think either growth teams should have this ownership, either they should be able to influence core product like directly. Otherwise, they cannot achieve their metric goals. I think this is the issue. Yeah. So I'm proud of this client, and yeah, so happy to continue helping others with that.
Love that. Love that. Thank you. KJ, close us off.
Yeah, Kate, thank you so much. Really great, great stories. I appreciate you keeping it nice and short for the team, but I think there's a lot of things that people can take away from this. I take my takeaway from the post that you had was this labor of illusion of, seeing AI showing you what it's doing, and you're not feeling like it's all magic, that you can actually see what it's doing. And so that's going to stick with me going forward. But looking forward to catching up when we're in Amsterdam again. Our partners are there, Amplitude, so we come through every now and again. But thank you so much for joining us, Kate.
Kate
Awesome.
Syuma,
Thank you for having me.
appreciate you being part of our little journey. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Don.
Thank you.
Ciao, ciao. Bye.
The unfair advantage.